So we often think that growth comes after a big opportunity. But in my experience, growth usually shows up as something that scares you. A decision, a leap, a moment when you're unsure if you're ready, but you do it anyway. I want to start by telling you something that I live by, is that sometimes you have to do it scared, and if you're not doing something that scares you, maybe you're not really growing. And so, as Bethany Hamilton once said, courage doesn't mean you don't get afraid. Courage means you don't let fear stop you. I'll say that again. Courage doesn't mean that you don't get afraid. It means that you don't let fear stop you. And this has been true for me over and over and over again. And the first time I had to really live that out was when I resigned from my job with absolutely no plan. Actually, right around this time, about 3 years ago now, at the Mill Summit is when I realized I was introducing myself and I had no title to tell anybody what I was going to do next. But I really knew that I just couldn't stay where I was. My mental health was suffering, and staying meant shrinking. I launched my business with absolutely no blueprint. I just figured it out. And honestly, I still am, which is the fun part. The most recent scared moment that I've had is I was asked to pull together an event, and it gave about a few weeks of time to be able to do that. My stomach was on the floor when I was asked this question, but when you get called by somebody, you need to make it happen for them. And I think that people have always shown up for me, and it's important to make sure you show up in the biggest ways for other people. Those are the times that actually really, really stretch me. So quick reflection point. When's the last time you did something that scared you, but you knew it was the right decision? So just think about that. Before you can take that leap into doing something that scares you, or say yes to the scary thing, something else has to shift first, is your mindset. So before I made that leap, I had a moment of deep clarity. I said, I can't keep working like this for the next 30 plus years. I had worn all the hats, I had taken all the work, led the projects, stayed late, showed up, and still no promotion, no raise, no growth, and no recognition. And it's exhausting to give your all in a system that isn't built to see you. But here's what changed everything, is I realized I get to choose. You all get to choose your journey and your path. I get to choose my growth, I get to choose what I pursue, and I get to choose what success means. And you know what I'm proud of now? Is I built something from scratch with zero experience. I became the person that had to learn the systems, communication, setting goals. Every single piece of being an entrepreneur was pretty new to me. But the difference is this time, I'm growing in a direction that I chose. Not for a title, not for validation, but for me. Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, once you make a decision, the universe conspires to make it happen. You can translate that to everything happens for a reason, and I truly believe that. I tell people that all the time. But I've also learned that every bold decision starts with a quiet shift inside, a moment where you realize, I want something different, and I'm allowed to go after it. Another reflection. What limiting belief are you holding on to, and how would your life change if you let it go? So of course, growth does not happen in isolation. Even when you're the one doing the work, making the decisions, pushing through the fear, the people around you matter. In fact, your circle can either elevate your growth or quietly suffocate it. And I'll say that again. Your circle can either elevate your growth or quietly suffocate it. In this journey, I've had to let people go. People who latched on with negative energy, people who pretended to be friends until they weren't, and I internalize it. What did I do wrong? I made it about me. But I've learned your reputation is what other people think about you, but your character is who you actually are. And that's what really matters. You can be surrounded by people and still feel completely alone. And that's why I protect my energy and surround myself with people I can trust, people who show up for me. Like the folks who helped me pull together a recent project that I called in a lot of favors for that, and it was really a growth moment for my business and organization. And that's what support looks like. That's what building strong relationships means, and that's how you build a circle that holds you. There's a quote from Tupac that I recently came up against. You're gonna love it, I hope. And so there's a point to this. So all of my journey and things, and this kind of happened more recently, is I want to see you eat, just not at my table. That quote hits because it reminds us that you can wish someone well and still set boundaries, right? Growth means making room for peace, not just people. And sometimes, as another quote says, the people around you won't understand your journey, and they don't need to because it's not for them. And so I want you to reflect and think about who energizes you and who drains you, and what relationships need to shift for you to be able to grow. So as your mindset shifts and your support system evolves, you start to see things differently, especially what success really means. I used to think I'd stay in one organization, build something big, maybe even retire there one day, but I realized that some spaces aren't built for your growth. Some spaces are even threatened by your passion. And walking away from that dream of growing where planted, it wasn't triumphant. I might be telling this story to you here now. I was very sad. It felt like I was grieving a version of my future that I worked really hard to earn. And as of now, I'm still learning to define success on my own terms. My therapist recently told me, yes, go to therapy. This is my endorsement of it. She said I need to start working on being able to realize that I am successful. That's a challenging thing for me. It's really hard because I keep raising the bar every time I go after something and succeed. And so I still tie my worth to what I'm able to do for other people. And I'll usually just say I'm on the right path. I never say I'm successful. But I'm learning and growing. And a part of that learning is being patient with myself as I get more comfortable with being me. So there's a quote that grounds me. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And that message goes beyond teams. It's about how we treat people, how we build together, how we lead in a way that lifts others up too. Another crucial message I have for you all is to lead with an abundance mindset, the belief that there's room for us all to grow. We don't have to stifle each other's progress or tear anyone down. Everyone is on their own path, and there are more than enough paths out here for us all. Another reflection. What would success look like for you if you were based on alignment instead of achievement? And closing. So here we are. We're at the big question. What's next for you? And there's someone in here I'm super excited to hear that from in the coming weeks or months or so. And if you're sitting with that question right now, I want you to know that you're not alone. You don't need all the answers. You just need to take one step. If you're stuck or unsure about what's next, that's okay. It really is. It's okay to be frozen. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to not know. But don't stay there. I want you to go for a walk. I want you to journal. And I want you to ask yourself what happiness looks like. Talk to someone. Or in the age of AI, my best friend Kathy, I will talk to ChatGPT and say, help me figure out what's next. Ask it, the prompt needs to be much more robust than that, but ask it to be a career coach, a life coach for you, and talk you through what this change needs to be for you. But you just need to start. So this week, I want you to do one simple thing. I want you to write down what you like to do and what you don't. And that alone will begin to give you clarity. As Jim Rohn said, your life does not get better by chance, it gets better by change. And another line I hold on to is, the next step doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be forward. So growth is hard, it is uncomfortable, it is scary. Growth is oh so beautiful, right? And so it's beautiful when you get to look at what you've created, when you realize people are being impacted because you had the courage to say yes, even if it was a shaky yes. So whatever your next looks like, do it scared, but please, just do it. And so remember to spur leadership, that spurs connection, that can spur giving, that spurs impact.